Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Justin. You I think a lot of props goes out to you. Kudos to you organizing all this for the last month and for how this goes. We're kind of getting a routine as all of us coaches all. And every morning when I get up with my little man, I log on to see if whatever I missed yesterday of going on the drive and checking everything out. And I think we're all teachers and learners and trying to find different ways, whether we stole a drill, a buzzword, something along with culture, or whatever the case may be. And I think as long as you take one thing and you'll get better as a coach, which to the kids. So props to you. I know you have a donation deal, and if you're not getting much money, you deserve a free bar tab for life, wherever any coaches convention, anything you got going on, man.
Hey, all for the love of the
You
game.
deserve it all.
Appreciate
So,
you.
appreciate you having me. But I also think this, anytime you do professional development and you go visit places or you listen to people, you watch stuff, it's always good to steal a little something. That's what we do as coaches. But I think at the same time, you kind of have to know who you are and what you have going as a program. And, it's reaffirmation and confirmation of, okay, well, we're on the right track. This isn't what we need to do. I think well, it's not like you need to go change everything. No, that's something as you start looking at all these, like, okay, I'm on the right page. So I think that's important too. Well, my name's Brett Dewhurst, and this is just finished my first year, new staff here at Texas State, and I have the back end, corners, nickels, safeties. I got them all. It's been fun, and we're at a place where we're trying to, like anybody says, you're coming in and changing the culture, trying to win games, and really successful FCS program. They made the jump to D1 FBS about 8 years ago, and have struggled. So we're in that process right now. So like anything, I've trying to listen to all the culture stuff and as you get in and trying to build a place. So that's something that I'm big on right now. And I didn't make a slide about the culture thing, but the thing that I'm teaching our kids is, as you kind of stuff and develop stuff of what make it your own. The big thing developed as far as our culture, I call it our 4 C's, 5 C's if you include culture. And that's communication, compete, and consistency. And that's what I kind of strive on as I'm looking at kid to recruit, as I'm building a staff. And it all goes back to me, it's communication, on and off the field. It's trust and relationships, which is huge. Kids they really don't, and anything what you say if you don't have a relationship with the kid. And that's player to coach, coach to player, player to player, coach to coach. I think that's huge. Next thing is about competition. I think it's just relentless effort. That's hard to instill in a kid. So as we go out and we are evaluating, which we can't, but it's easy to tell how competitive a kid is, and for a DB's perspective, watching a one-on-one or whatever, and he gets beat, how's he react? Is he okay with it? Is he pissed off? Competitive as a kid. And then, is he coachable? You hear guys saying that all the time, but to me, it's just, what makes a kid coachable is, what is he willing to get better every single day and work your weakness? Work your weakness, and that's one of the best part about this job is identifying your strengths and weaknesses and enhancing and working them and have a plan every day. And then how consistent. That's the hardest thing is consistency. With everything going on right now, all of us coaches it's like everyone's fired and you got a year off and everyone's doing professional development and kids are out working and doing all the things on their own. And it's like they're cut from a team, but once it gets back, everyone's going to be excited, but how consistent are you going to be? And that's with anything in life. The success people are consistent. So that's what we preach. But just getting going, obviously just talking about man coverage. Everyone always talks, why do you play man? Or the RPO game is what everyone's question is as far as guys asking, or the, RPOs can't stop it. And at the end of the day, you need to play man coverage to stop RPOs. It's man free here. It allows you to have sound, whether you're just or you're stunting, whatever the case may be, but also body on body. So obviously you have to incorporate that. And I think with man, you don't need to play it every down. I think those guys that call the defense, if they've never played in the back end, some of them don't understand that. You got to give him a break and play some zone coverage, confuse the quarterback a little bit, but allows you to play, B-gap sound, put body on body, and then close the middle of the field. Playing man, a lot of times if guys are just playing quarters, you start to get all those quarters asking how you handling the scissors and what are you doing here and what's communication and all that. Close the middle of the field, and it eliminates some of those post routes and some of those things that can end up beating you. But also, not just man free, but just going in when you incorporate man coverage, you can be in your coverages or your pressures. For us, whether it's cover 0, cover 1, you're 3, we play true country cover 3, but also kind of incorporate Liz match that everyone's doing, which turns into man coverage at the end of the day based off post snap routes, quarters. Everyone talks about reading 2 zone. That bullshit. That shit's man to man. At the end of the day, some soft form of it, but and then cover 6, which quarter half. So goes into recruiting kids and a lot of high school guys that are on here, and as you look at it, and especially at safety, if a guy can't play man coverage, it's in the back end, because with everything that offenses are doing nowadays, you have to have the ability to play some man coverage. Now, you can have some things where you can hide them at times or different techniques if the guy's not as good, but the ability to play man coverage is vital. And I think it's important to make the offense earn what they get. I kind of like that, what Coach Bateman was saying, no layups. Playing man coverage, you got body on body. The offense, whatever you pressure or whatever coverage you end up playing, whether it's, man-to-man in the boundary or the field, you have to find that one-on-one and then beat you. So that's the beauty of playing man coverage, and that's why everyone has to incorporate it into their defense right now. Okay. Now, the weakness, single high, when you start talking quarterback run game, you're a guy short, essentially, depending on the technique you play with that post player. Some a part of them too, where you can bounce a post piece. I've been a part of them as well, where guys want them at 7-8 yards. Yeah, that's great. You can stop the quarterback run game with that, but then obviously now you're giving up a little bit of coverage in the back end. But if you're ever playing true deep post player, whether it's cover 3 or man coverage single high, you're a guy short in the quarterback run game, and you got stunts and different things, chase stuff and exchanges you can do to help you out. But that's a weakness, obviously. If they end up running some type of quarterback run game, you're a piece short. They got you by numbers. And then obviously now that teams are doing all your GTs and your trucks and CG, your pin pull stuff, just trying to get you outnumbered, whether it's to the field or the boundary, get numbers on you. And then at times you just have to realize you're going to get beat. You're going to give up some PIs. I just think as we get going, the biggest thing is knowing where your help is, and whether you're playing press or playing off can eliminate a lot of that. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, they're going to make plays. They're on, like we always say, our guys, they're on scholarship too. There's good coaches on the other side too. They're going to find you at times. They're going to beat you. But you got to live to play another down. And I think the biggest thing I want to talk about as I get going on all this is just situational football. Nowadays you go out there and you play, ask your kids, and they have no idea, especially when the offense is going fast. Some of them have no clue what down it is. First down, second down, third. They just play. They just put it in the. So I think it's however you incorporate it. If there's head coaches on here, coordinators, whatever, the situation. You always talk about it in the game, in the film room, but I think it's important to talk about it in the field and teach off that. And I'm not a coordinator, but I think from the ones I've been around, that's important to learn is to teach your kids there's a strength and weakness to everything, and I think it's vital that the kids know that, and they know, okay, if they throw the ball on a fade here, that's where the ball needs to go. If we're playing pass defense and all of a sudden that's the weakness to it, or here's the strength. I think it's vital as you install it, and everyone talks about the why, but I think it's important to preach the strength and weaknesses to every call. And, sometimes you put, we always point out the good and bad on the kids, but at the same time, can't stop every single play on offense. So I think at times it's important to show as a coordinator, this is a shitty call that I made here, and show an example of why. This is what I was thinking, but here's what they did. I think that's huge in the kids' trust. Covered shell, and that's one thing that has been our big off-season study. You know, we were a lot of three high kind of in the thing that everyone's kind of doing right now. So we really incorporated and started to really study of our one high, two high, three high of what we want that to look like, and then get to different snaps and coverages out of those shells and based off the indicator of what we're rolling to. I think that's important as you mix in your man coverage and not just lining up in man free all the time. Another one that I always teach with our kids, and I think is important, because what they do is as you install, you know, as a coach, as a coordinator, whatever, you understand the big picture, but the kids don't. You know, they like to just memorize. And so what I think is huge is as you pause the play on the screen and you look at the shell or you see what the situation is, where would you go with the football if you're playing quarterback? You're playing Madden, you throw the damn ball. And I think that's huge. I understand that. So as kids start looking at it, I need to show some love over here in the corner. If I'm a post player, I need to be outside the hash or inside. I think that's huge at it. And then the biggest thing as we get going on all this is, when do I play press? When do I play off? Whether it's in the slot, if it's that corner. I think a lot of it determines on, you know, matchups. What's the score? How much time's left? Post help. Is it simulated? What's leverage? I think that's all huge as you get teaching and doing it all. And so what I've kind of organized, or as we get going on all this, we're primarily just a 3-4. You know, everyone, what do you run? I mean, we run everything like everybody does. But I think the ability, you know, playing 3-4 and doing all this is you can be multiple with everything that you do. So out of this shell, our one high, our show shell, we can play 1, 2, 3, true zone, ripple is 4, quarter, half, 0, all of that same look. So I think, you know, as you start incorporating, what are we doing? How do we want to incorporate man coverage? What does our shell look like? You know, being multiple out of that helps. Whereas if you're more of a 4-down team and that end and rush aren't necessarily droppers and you're playing, you know, it's single high right now. It's a little bit harder to disguise. So I think as you look at it all, what is our shell? What can we incorporate to make that quarterback think once that ball snaps? Make the quarterback, the OC up in the box, think, what are they in? What are they doing? So what I kind of organize, I'm going to talk slot with nickel and safety, then talk off man at corner, then talk some bump, some of the finish stuff, and then use some examples, whether it's us, other college teams, NFL teams. Do is as you watch games, we game, and as we're in lunch in the season or right now, and just have just an ongoing teach tape of just lessons, you know, and you know, kids are all of a sudden they're not really paying attention, and you pop up out there or another great team, and all of a sudden they light up, and it's just it's a vibe and guys, and you show them good, show them bad. So what I kind of did was just kind of take a one-on-one clip from practice, and then show a clip of my game practice, and then kind of an indie drill as we get going. But just stop me, Justin, if it gets choppy, or if guys have questions, just shoot them out.
Yes, sir.
All right. So just with our nickels and our safeties, we incorporate, and you hear the term a lot, of just scooch. Okay. I'm not a big believer of just sit there and catching. I think it's hard as shit unless you've done it. That guy's going full speed. I don't believe it just sitting there and absorbing and taking the charge. I think you need to lose a little bit of ground. And so our base alignment, and I think this is huge, is you have to adapt on the ability of the kid. I'm not going to be mad at the kid. We tell them 7 from the. Some guys are comfortable at 6, some are 7, some are 8. You know, I think you have to have a base teaching point, but then you also got to adapt. And man coverage, you really need to adapt on his ability. You adapt as a coach. I'm a big believer in it. Step replace, maintain a stagger stance. And all it is, it's your old school tight punt. And I'm just going to inch back with this unit, and I'm just going to have cleats in the ground, and I'm going to inch back in my plant leg and drive leg constant before I end up more of a soft press catch technique. What that allows you to do is plant, drive, quick game. You know, you always see it, guys just pedal the fuck up out of there, and they can't stop any hitches, outs, slants, whatever the case may be. No chance. Okay. We want to end up being even at 10 and 12. A lot of people say 10. But I think if you got a guy that's 7-8 yards, and as long as he's even right around knowing you got middle closed, I'm good with that. More body on body with it. You'll see it more insta catch. We don't have a divider rule. I know a lot of people do. I've been burned on it in the past, in some of the Big 12, and you start getting some slot fades and the slots at the top of the numbers, and he's still running this fade and running away from you. So I've gotten away from it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. A lot of people have some rules. I think the biggest thing to understand, where's your help? Where's that post piece? And I think it's important to mix your leverage. Start inside to get outside. Start outside, get in. Mix your leverage, and then obviously your splits, releases, and stems. We'll change it up as we get going. All right. So now, and this was a kid who he ran 4.8 at his pro day. So this kid struggled to man. Now, as you get going, I think so is anytime we went man free, we try to get his ass in a post, but at time, he's still going to practice it, still going to rep it. He ended up becoming pretty comfortable, at least at staying square. So, I say 7 yards in this situation, he's probably 8 when you get these one-on-ones. I think it's also vital. Anytime you're doing one-on-ones, put a ball down. A lot of times you're playing bump, or this guy's just need to put a ball down on the field to know, because I've had the corner has lined up off sides. He's lined up on the wideout, and the wideout is off the ball. But put a ball, obviously keep it off the line so you know exactly what your landmark is. But as you see it here, he's playing outside leverage, and I'm a firm believer is if he is going back to your divider rules, if you do have a post player here, and that slot fades the hardest route if you're inside. If you're outside leverage is when you get that stem and you get that bender all the way across, right? But here, he's playing outside, so whatever leverage I am, if I'm outside leverage, my outside foot's up. If I'm inside leverage, my inside foot's up. And all I want to do is step replace. And I want to try to get me 3 in. And once I get 3, now instead of just sitting there, I'm going to end up going scooch to more of a soft press. It's basketball now to catch. So he's going to go he's driving to take the hole. I am inching back, taking my scooches. Now it's more soft press. My cleats are in the ground, and now I'm more to catch. Coaches speak, talk is you want that inside hand to his chest plate and that outside hand to his cuff, and it's not always going to be like that. He does a good job, and you can tell based off his release, and I get it. It's going to get hard. You're going to say shitty release by the kid, but you can tell whether you're getting a straight vertical S-fade release, you're getting a stem, you're getting that 1-2 counter, all different things. And what the kids got to understand is offense isn't when these one-on-ones with no pressure. They're not worth a shit. I main thing is going back and working your technique. I could care less whether he catches the ball or not in one-on-ones. Okay, so now here's an example of playing man free, and you'll end up seeing it later here in the session. We're playing bump, we're playing our off-man screw technique, but here's our post piece. Now we're playing outside leverage here. All right, knowing our post helps here. If wider, I'm okay. If he ends up being inside, he's at 7 yards. He scooch. Being patient, that is not a vertical S-fade release. So I'm going to end up buzzing my feet, cleats in the ground, be ready to go, play it outside in. Ends up being in good shape here. Okay? And since PT's on here, I'm going to go ahead and teach him just talking ball here. We went ahead and showed one high here. Okay? So just going back, just talking about where should the quarterback go with the football. He knows it's single high, man free. He knows he needs to go up top to the X-fade. Okay? You'll end up we'll end up playing this guy outside. I don't like how this guy let him outside on the outside release, especially on first and second down. But going to the post piece here, as you start looking at yourself, if your safeties, if you're at 10 yards, whatever, your post player is going to close the middle field, but he's not going to make many plays. You can talk about all you want, sideline to sideline. He's not going to make many plays if he doesn't have much depth. So we end up putting him at 14 here. If we're going to show one high, at times we'll hide it. We're going to show it. But I like, PT taught me this, and Carl but rather him scooch and the post player even square until the quarterback declares. And let me go ahead and show you from the back end. All the RPO game or if it's drop back, that quarterback will look you off. Now, even though it is shotgun, he can look you off, but once he gets to the back of his drop, bam, now his head, and that's where he's going. So a lot of times teams will look the other. Teams will stare right at you. You want to end up hanging that hash. That quarterback should go with the ball, because especially bumped it here. I would expect 14 to be able to go make this play here. I think it's vital if you play a lot of single high of cut up the quarterback that you're playing against and show them, okay, where's he going versus single high? You know, show your kids, hey, if he is looking away, we need to go opposite way right now. You know, if he's looking at you, if he's a guy that's just going to look where he's throwing it, I think it's important you show it. Okay, so how do we drill scooch? You know, to me, it's a good pre-practice drill. I like to get out there early, and as you all you guys, the coaches, you can't have enough Indy. You want Indy all damn day, you know, and so we'll at first we'll start off and everyone just get in line and we'll just work our scooch going through the number, just step or play, step or in the ground, quick steps. And then we'll end up all working a soft press and going back and forth. And the guy will end up mirroring them and going back and forth, and you're just playing basketball. Here's kind of the next phase of it, what we ended up doing here, and I think it's vital, okay, and it's kind of a teach speed, but all we want to do right now is we're not scooching. All we're doing is we are soft pressing your inch technique, soft, quick feet back, inching back, and now I'm just mirroring him. And I'm just moving, taking the charge. We're hooping. He's driving it. I want to get my body, not cross over, mirror step, take the charge, no hands. Okay, so that's the first drill that we end up doing. And I think it's important as you start teaching your guys, the scout drill, you know, you're not going to get any better if he's half-ass speed or if he ends up being full speed. I think it's important as you teach you guys on everything, tackling drills, anything that you do, the scout guy makes a drill. Okay, so we'll start off, that's the first part of it. And then rate our scooch. Okay, so now we'll scoot soft press. I'm not getting quick, scooch, no quick game, soft press. Now take the charge, still no. Then the third and final aspect of it is we'll pick up the tempo just a little bit more. And I think as you teach it, you know, as you start these drill off, hey, everyone outside leverage or everyone inside leverage, I think you get a mixture of both. And now what we end up getting is scooch to soft press and now incorporate your hands. Scooch, soft press to catch and collision. Okay, I've also done it with the bag. You know, you can it's funny the places you go and up the better the quality of film is. And this was us at Tech, and I put an agile back here so they wouldn't just open the gate. You hear that time a lot. You know, you don't want just all of a sudden this guy to just drop step and open the gate where the guy gets. And a lot of kids want to do it, especially if they can't run. But that's not what you want to do. You want to run through you and not just give him a free release. So all we're doing is incorporating here, step, replace. Now, instead of just buzzing, I've incorporated the soft press to inch back, and now we're just taking the charge. Okay. From the other aspect, from the other view, going back. Same concept, inch back, charge. It's a good pre-practice drill to kind of incorporate every day. Once again, one more time. And you can start to feel these stems to soft press, collision. Is it doing a pretty good job? Now, okay, and obviously he's happy because he never gets playman covers. Here's a chance now where you're feeling vertical presence, right? You're not getting that inside stem. You're not getting the dig. He's pressing you vertical now where you're getting that slot fade. Right, and it's really, really hard. It's a hard route to stop inside leverage, right? So now what I give them a chance to do is if I'm scooching and I'm feeling that vertical stem right now, or I'm getting that, I'm fine now if that scooch almost turns into a scooch to pedal. And now as I open up, that's your kick step, angle kick, whatever you want to call it. And now ideally, I don't want to just cross over like 7 is down here. I'd rather you take with that outside step, take a step and gain ground with that inside step, almost like kick slide, what I know what Alabama teaches a lot of, and gain ground and really force that guy to widen before I end up stabbing here. Okay, and here's an example. This was like our up package, and we did all, you know, up and drop and play different coverages. Well, this happened to be a zero pressure, and here's our kid playing inside leverage because it is zero. There is no post help, but he is getting that slot fade, and he knows it. This kid was fast, that Turpin kid who could run, and he's going to scooch. So now instead of just catching collision, he knows this is that hard route. He's going to go ahead and scooch to pedal, open up, stab. And now he's in good position. And we'll talk our finish phase of how we end up finishing on. And I think it's vital. And anytime your guys make plays, man, as you end up teaching your things, as any coordinators, your head coaches out there and all that, celebrate together. That's the biggest thing. As soon as you see this, and as you're watching this on a tape and you're seeing guys do this, it's not about you for each other. That's the biggest thing. Okay. Now, Okay, we talked about S fade, talked about our scooching. Anytime you get a first level stem, okay, stem, outside stem, you're not getting vertical concepts unless it happens to be some bullshit one-on-one routes, right? Which we've all experienced. But other than the scoop, so as you see 7 here, see how he's not losing ground? Going to go ahead and now it's more of just straight soft press to catch. You're ready to get your cleats in the ground, driving on the out route, driving on the dig. I don't want to lose so much ground now. First level stem, scooches off, be ready to go plant and drive. Okay, now you're going to ask, okay, well, do you want to maintain your average? I'm not a harp on if I'm outside and I do get a stem, just good position. And I mean, find the guys that ends up being to just go plant and drive and ready to catch, because you can coach them your blue in the face at times. And, with a lot of this on stems, it's off man, the hardest thing to do, okay, well, here's an example of going on our cover shell that's out of our quarters look of it. See how with our boundary safety, we're rolling to cover 1 now. So as you look at it, this field safety here, we're hiding our look where a lot of teams run that, quarters version where you lock 1, you palms 2 and 3. We're playing now, man, from 10. So I can slow or not even take a first scooch step. But as you see it here, he's going to get that inside step and he's going to get that bender, that 95 dig curl route that you always get. It's hard to are playing outside leverage. Okay, so he loses a little bit of ground here, but I'm fine with it. He's outside, 23 is going to the post. As he ends up getting that bender, as you get that hard one, you get the pain in the ass of that old throwback where he inside stems and ends up going corner out. That's a bitch. But as you do get this, he's doing a good job. And if you are high, I think it's critical as you finish here just to go ahead and pull the back arm. A lot of guys, we end up calling stripper pole. They always try to reach and come all the way back around. Well, all that ref's going to see is you grab and tug that back part of that jersey. So as his hands go up, just pull that back arm, be violent, and break the elbow, pull the back arm, and make him catch the ball one-handed with the hard arm. I think that's one other pre-practice drill you can continue to work, especially it shows up a lot when you are playing outside leverage. Okay, now, and I thought, okay, so this was a freshman for us, and I think he's talented kids I've coached who's just raw as shit. And he naturally can pedal and stay square and mirror kid better than anybody I've coached. And so I'm not killing him as far as the scooch. It's a progression. Do I want him to end up doing it? Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, he's really good at something that I'm not going to just kill his vibe and he's comfortable with it. He keeps his cleats in the ground and can mirror kid better than anybody I've ever seen. And y'all saying it's a white kid out there at slot, but we all know some of those white guys are one of the hardest ones to guard in slots. But he does a really good job, even though he is losing some ground. Some people end up teaching it this way. I know a lot of high school guys do, just staying on top. But once again, to me, you continue to adapt based off what the kid can do. And I got one more clip of it before we move on to playing off man at corner. Once again, he can end up mirroring, and that's some of these double moves and head nods and eyes are staying at those numbers, but can actually mirror kid better than I've ever seen. So I'm not going to overcoach this kid. Just continually as you move on and develop and progress, we'll end up getting there. Okay. That's any questions on off man from Scooch man from the slot, Justin, or anything? Anybody yet?
Nothing right now, Coach. But yeah, guys, okay. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat box.
Perfect. Now talking corners, what we do is we face the play. We shuffle, and any high school guys on here, I think it's easy to teach. I think it's easy, especially if you guys train both ways and you got wide out, and everyone plays both ways. I think it's easy to take a kid, play corner pretty quick. As you end up seeing it here, and I've gone back and forth. I've lined at 5, I've lined at 6, 7. Right now we're teaching our guys at 6, but one of those same things. I think you got to adapt on a build. Shuffle, obviously, with the good base. The main thing, like we talked about, scooch, cleats in the ground. You got to be able to change direction. I don't want to hop, heel click, crossover, cleats in the ground to change direction. Now, what we always do is I'll always take 2 shuffles. minimum of 2 shuffles. Once you get comfortable, guys can take 3, take 4. And those are the ones that really feel comfortable in the shuffle. But you're never, as I'm hearing all these wideouts talk, they always want to get the DB to finally open their hips. Well, now your hips are open, so I'm not in a threat to get ran by, and I think that's huge. But any vertical stem, I want to attack inside breaking routes, okay? And then we use the term flip and match. It's your head whip, speed turn, rollover, whatever you want to end up calling it. If your guy does get in your blind spot, what you'll end up showing here. Okay, so the hips are already open. Like I said, there's some strength there. Obviously we like to recruit longer kids, which every corners coach in the country likes to say that. But if a kid is longer and he's not as quick twitch or he's a little bit stiffer in his hips, I think he can still play this technique. So I think that's vital as you guys have high school kids that aren't as quick twitch and open their hips and playing. I think this helps you out. Eliminates explosive plays playing off and doing some of this. The weakness is obviously some comebacks, some of the quick game. The vision, obviously, with you facing the play and you want man eyes, at times their eyes are going to drift at the quarterback. Okay, so that can be a weakness, and obviously you'll end up getting some double moves, which we'll end up showing here. Okay, so in essence, and I've gone back and forth on all this, okay, of playing 5, playing 6, playing 7, and once again, I think you adapt. It's always easier to start a little bit deeper and then move them up, okay? But we always do, and just like anything else, we don't have a divider rule, but at times we'll end up, if he has a cut split, we'll play outside tip. But right now, I'm gonna be head up to inside tip, and I'm gonna cock this back foot in just a little bit, okay? What I don't want to do is start here at the top of the numbers, and as I shuffle, I start to drift and widen and give them any inside breaking route, okay? So right now, obviously, I'm facing a play, but I made his true man coverage. My eyes are on the wide out here. And all I want to do is cleat on the ground, taking my shuffles. I get quick game, I'm just playing and driving. Playing and driving, same, real similar of playing that outside leverage, getting that over out. If you're in this position here, pull the back arm, just contest the rows, okay? If you're playing off and they catch quick game, it's because you're playing off. That's why you're not playing bump and run right now, okay? So at the end of the day, if the kids can plant and drive, have position to tackle, and work the football is the main thing.
Coach, got a question here for you.
Yep, what you got?
How do you like to coach the corner in the shuffle who peeks too much at the quarterback?
That's, and I've heard that a few times. And there's times where, and I got a good example of it, but there's times where it's an advantage because you see the ball a little bit, and good players, going to pass rush, okay? If you're pass rushing and you got tackle or whatever, good pass rushers always see the quarterback. They always end up seeing the ball. At times at corners, the good ones can end up finding the ball, and they end up kind of seeing the ball a little bit more than what they should. At times you'll get beat with it as well. But I think it's just critical, and like anything else, if there's a guy that just continually used to do it, you just rep the shit out of it or just have some type of punishment. But to me, you position yourself where you can see that kid really, overcoach him on it, as far as and repping it as you get going, or pre-practice, post-practice. And I think it's huge. What I've done with our kids is every kid has a weakness. And I think it's important that you let them know what it is. And if you ask your kids, what's your weakness, and they don't know, to me, that's shitty coaching. And I think you have to have a plan. I have enough Indian time, but every day, pre-practice or post-practice, you should have something set up where those kids are working their weakness and have a drill for them, because they don't know. They don't know how to, do stuff or work and all that. So I think it's important that you set up a drill. And I think that's how, as teams are like, what do you do for Indy? What are you shitty at, and make up a drill to get better at it. I think that's important to do. Okay, so as you watch it up here, and this was a true freshman corner for us up top, and we're playing a form. Here's once again about our 3 high show. We end up doing a lot of, but we're playing essentially quarters over here. And man, we locked it. He's playing off man over here to the field. So this he's just going to take his shuffles. He's getting quick game right now, and so am I mad he catches this ball? Absolutely not. Just position to tackle football. It's a 2-yard gain here. Okay, if we want to stop these quick games, you end up going and you're playing some bump. What I also suggest, so see how we're trapping down here at the bottom? We incorporate a lot of that double cloud trap at a 3-hard shell. I think that eliminates a lot of quick game. You know, as I went back and forth of having the control of when we press and when we play off, we played so much of that double trap cloud stuff where we didn't get much, now hitches, bubbles, slants. Teams were scared to throw into it. So I think that also helps you out if you do incorporate a little bit of that. If you don't have guys that can play, and that's something also to think about.
Got a question here, Coach.
Yep. What you got?
Why don't you align the DB outside leg of the receiver in the screw technique?
On the outside leg?
Yeah.
Because we do a lot in the slot, knowing that safety can make some plays in the post. For instance, look at this picture here. If you get a cut split here, a lot of times we do go outside tip. But any normal split, if he's anywhere, 2 yards from the top of the numbers, we're going to tuck inside. Just in like a whole body. I'm just inside tip for inside breaking routes. That's the main thing. But if you do get some cut splits, we will play outside leverage, knowing depending on where your help is. That's a good question. Because the one thing that teams will do playing this technique is it's hard to stop if you start getting this and teams start going formation in the boundary and start running these outside breaking routes. It's hard. So either you got to bump it or you're playing. But at the same time, what you don't want to give up is obviously the post, depending on if you're in man free or if you're in a quarter situation, whatever the case may be. Let me go back one real quick. So this is down here in the red zone. We're in a form of just of quarters here and just locking it, right? But I think also and this is huge, is it's important, especially as you schedule practice. Okay, you do your one-on-ones open field, you do your goal line. What our head coach allows us to do, and I love it, I'll take it as much. Work the area from the 20 to like the 15 and 12. If you're playing off or whatever, to me, that's that gray area that shows up like, shit, I give up a skinny and touchdown. But how much did you work it in practice? So we do it every Wednesday. We do high red and then go low red. So I think it's important, especially playing this screw technique, what we call screw the shuffle. See how patient he is now? You're not going to get ran by down here. They're not running as much post, all that. You're getting your skinny quick game. So obviously playing all this, knowing we're playing a lot coverage here, he does a good job. Any vertical stem, I'm climbing inside, attacking inside breaking routes. What you're gonna see in a minute, what your subject for is like your slug goes, your slant goes, or quick stem. All right. The one thing I also incorporated was we do now from that 15 to the 10, we square our corners up now and play our scooch like we did with that nickel. Just from the 20 to 15, we still play open though. That's one thing I kind of change as we get going. And like anything, you have failure and then you adapt and change from it. So look at the corner down here, the bottom. Teams start getting that 12 personnel. It's no help. So see how he's starting to climb inside. He's shuffling. I like him taking another shuffle instead of just crossing over, but inside breaking routes. And he gets cut inside a little bit, does a good job. End up being at the point attack, getting the ball out. What another advantage of it, and this one we're at Houston, on the cover, okay, but you look at the corner up top, it's the exact same stance, okay? His hips are open. The only difference now is his eyes are on the quarterback. He's playing deep third, cover 3. So now, still the same shuffles, but now what's telling him quick game is out, quarterback gets the ball, drive. So you just want to see them stick that foot in the ground. So the drills you do is and as we go out as college coaches, DB coaches, go evaluate kids, the biggest see from a kid is, can he stick the foot in the ground and gain ground? Eliminate all the cones and knowing when to break. Everything is off reaction as a DB. So it doesn't make a shit what drill you have. Anything where they're full speed, sticking their foot in the ground and reacting off somebody is the main thing you want to see. And usually it takes about 2 minutes you can tell a kid can stick his foot in the ground, whether he can play DB or not. But this 2 examples here of rolling to cover 3, same concept here up top, okay? Ends up reading the quarterback for quick game, but same technique, but guys are now on the quarterback instead of playing man. So it's a lot of same as. Once again, it's easy for a kid who hasn't played a lot. It's an easy technique to carry over. If you're a high school guy or if it's a longer kid that struggles at getting his hips open and all that, if a kid can run and stick but struggles in the back pedal, Who gives a shit? Have him play his hips open. Okay, now look at down here at the bottom as well. Okay, quarterback run team. So now he's going to stay in the shuffle. And I want you to watch 31 down here. He's going to have no post help. But as you watch it here, watch how patient he is with the shuffles. I'm going to slow it down here. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And now crossover run. So vertical stem, climbing high and inside, stay upfield shoulder. Never stop your feet. You can all subject to if they end up breaking it off and end up running a curl, you just plant drive, be in good position to go tackle it. You cannot get mad at a kid. You're not going to necessarily stop. You want to stop curls, come back. You need to be ready to go bump. You're not going to stop it all playing off like this. And that's why I think it's important as you continue to mix. Kind of frozen here just a second, Justin. Okay. This kid ended up being a really good player, first round draft pick, William Jackson. But he was quick to, right? But all I want to show you here is you're going to start it. You're climbing high and inside. Now, okay, you start getting that sluggo, little and vertical. So now there's your rollover, your flip and mash, your speed turn, your head whip. So now you always want to head whip high and never low. Always got to assume vertical. He ends up being in that blind spot, right? And that's when do you do it? Every kid's different. Whenever you feel him, he's in that blind spot, you need to go in speed turn, head whip now, and expect vertical, and then be in a good position in phase, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And if you ever go speed turn and he's not there, he double moves you, be ready to go speed turn back. Okay, so watch. This is a good example here of this is quarters, right? And we're locked up here as a corner. And this piece is going to end up walking out, and he's going to end up what we call robbing the post. He has no vertical threat here. But I like with the corner. Watch the corner up top. And I think this is the one where he ends up getting a sluggo here. Now he's getting that quick stem, high and side matches, and he actually is on top. So now, if you are on top and he does do a good job of stabbing, now that's when you go ahead and turn into him. But it's a great job of climbing side. That guy's in your blind spot, flip and match. If he flips and matches here and the wideout is not there, you better be ready to go flip and match again, because that's when you're going to get your double moves. Your quick slant, go, and then back to the post. Those are obviously the hard ones you got to incorporate and work a little bit.
Question here, Coach.
Yep.
Do a lot of teams attack your DB's blind spot in that screw technique?
Yes. So you do get some comebacks. You get the out routes. So that's when you have to incorporate playing bump. So it's a mixture. Or that's when you incorporate where everything looks same as, and you play trap and you play cover 2 over there. But if you just live in this and you don't bump at all, or you don't trap and play a form of cover 2, yeah, that's all you're going to get. I mean, like, shit, why would you do anything else? Let's run some out routes, some comebacks, and all that. So I think that's what's vital. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, of playing bump and when do you incorporate both. All right, so here's just a drill, just working that flipping match. Just having your blind spot right now and flipping and matching. What we teach you, go ahead and stab on that shoulder and just be ready to go pin the wrist. We don't teach the look and lean and all that stuff. See it here in a little bit. This is the clip I was just talking about that I want to show. So this ends up being a great job by this. And then here ends up being our walkout piece who robs the post. And this we're talking about is great teach tape for effort by this boundary safety, but great technique by the corner up top. He's taking the shuffles, stutter. He got the stutter and go here. Okay, so he's going to be ready to go plant drive. All of a sudden, he realized that he speed turns. He flips and matches. He's in great shape. He ends up being on top. So whenever you're even with him, you're even or he's behind you, you're getting back shoulder fake comeback. So he does a great job of turning into and ends up doing a good job of – and this is a great lesson, which you always got to show guys of running the ball. You do all those pursuit drills and all that. Watch 14 here, the post player or the boundary safety who ends up trying to rob the post here. It's a great effort because you never know when that ball is going to be tipped up. So these are the things you got to continue to preach to your kids. Bam. So he speed turns, ball thrown, and he's rolling. you got to expect end up making a play. Corner does a great from the picket here, but knocks the ball up. But that's the kind of effort, and that's the competitiveness. As you end up watching a kid, you're going to recruit a kid, and you see how those corners, man, and all that. That's when you realize kids like football, and you know you can get better with those type of kids. Here, two of them, a kid flipping and matching and doing what he's a kid not in a critical situation. So watch the corner up top. He does the same thing. You know, he ends up getting a blind spot. He flips and matches. He ends up being high on him. He ends up turning into him. Does a great job on the back shoulder. So he's high. That quarterback's going to put that ball back shoulder fade, come back, turn into, play the back shoulder, throw back shoulder, and play through his hands. So it's a great job by the corner. He ends in his blind spot. He flips and matches. Okay. Now, here's a great teach tape. Okay. So it's tie ball game. There's 28 seconds left. It's fourth down. Quarter. They have 3 timeouts left. So all they need is a field goal. And, you know, you think they're going to run the ball here, right? Situational football. So you got to end up playing a quarterback run defense, which we do with all these guys, and we're locked up everywhere else. Okay. So if pressed here, probably should have in this situation because they need a field goal. And especially with tight splits, I'm fine with ahead and presses here. Anytime you feel tight splits, we give them that option so you don't get picked and rubbed and all that. But he is playing off here, but it's a great lesson, even though it's a scar of he's playing inside, but he ends up seeing a quarterback a little bit. Okay. But right now that piece is in his blind spot. So he has to flip and match and play the wideout. He doesn't. He gives the wideout. And so anytime you give him your back, and it doesn't matter how good you are, and if that wideout's not very good, but if you give that wideout your back, he just off you and creates separation. Ball game. So it's obviously you got teach tape of when to flip and match. The kids should have here, you know. But those as you get going through all this, and the more you coach and all that, you end up getting scars, and you remember exactly what play and different techniques. So this obviously one I continue to show our guys over and over. That should be out of that, and then be ready to talk bump here. Okay. Now talking bump, man, and I wish this is shitty on my part. The camera is on behind us, so obviously this is the wide out here, and this is the DB on this side. I wish it was reversed. So shitty job on my part, but here is a drill, and I play bump man just a little bit different. Let me see if there was a slide here. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So bump man, obviously it's full court press basketball. Okay. We're a little bit different. A lot of people teach the motor mirror inch back. We get hands on. And so we're a little bit different than a lot of people, but I'm a firm believer in it. It's improving, it's worse. And so not that everyone else is right, wrong, or indifferent, but it's what we do. But now talking all your this has to complement playing your off. And so obviously it's important to understand your leverage. So at times we'll play head up, inside, outside tip. I think it's important that the kids need to know when, but obviously it starts with your eyes, eyes, feet, and hands. That's the biggest thing. Common mistakes that guys always do playing bump is they open the gate, or they lunge. Whenever you're shooting a hand, they lunge, or they spread, they drop spread their feet, drop the hand, spread the feet. Common mistakes you don't want to do. Wasted. Okay, so just a quick picture as I started thinking about it is teams that play your inch back, your motor mirror, it's and jam type. It's great. There's a lot of good teams that do it. Are a lot of good players, and you have to be a little bit quicker twitch. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think of it in this aspect of it's full court press basketball. What's easier for an offense? You let them inbound and dribble up the court, okay, and you're playing good defense. Or you got a guy who's long arms, he's on you, and it's total panic to get the ball in bounds just to get into your release. And then work to get up court, now work to get in your release, and now go get separation and catch football. So that's our aspect of it, is we're going to make you get off the ball to get into your route and then work from there. Okay, so it'll make a little bit more sense as we get going. So just a couple of things that we end up doing here is, I think the hardest thing to do is to shoot your with and have feet. So it's one of those things that has to be repped every single. Um, and what I mean by that is, coaches speak. You want underneath your shoulders. You want to maintain a good crossover. I want to naturally buzz my feet. Since when I show an actual one-on-one here in a second, but all we're working here is just, we're mirroring back and forth, and I'm shooting my hands. Never want to shoot two at once, but I'm using a punch counter punch technique. So I want to keep those hands right above my face. We're just going back and forth, punch counter punch. And the reason I put the agile here, like, well, how they got an agile here, was to eliminate the fall. To be a lot of guys that would shoot a hand, and that same foot would end up false stepping forward, wasted movement. So it doesn't allow them to false step forward here. Kind of the same thing as we had when we were playing scooch, and that agile was back. So now what I incorporated, and this is something that I just decided to, I didn't see it. I just number 20 was a true freshman for us who's going to be a good player. But he had that common mistake, and I tried to rep it, but it was same as. It kept happening. So I'm like, okay, what drill can I make that maybe this helps him out? So put one in behind. So it allows us to go back and forth, working our punch, counter punch technique. He releases now to eliminate the drop step. Now here's your, essentially what a lot of teams do with your motor mirror is, that's my kick step, open up and stab now. So it eliminates the bucket step, makes him release outside my frame. I'm getting hands on, working him getting your route. I don't care which hand you throw first. I'm going to shooting one. The offense is obviously going to have a which they do, and the wideouts have all those little crayons on. They're going to work it, but then have that counter punch hand up. And then once he's released cylinder now, once he's released outside my frame, now it becomes your offhand jam stab. So that was something we had to do it. Now it's putting it all together.
Okay, I've got a question here for you.
Yep.
How do you help the DBs not drop their hands? Do you have any drills specific?
Yeah, absolutely. So and I don't have it on here, but we have a 5-man sled that we hit every single day. And so as we do it, and whoever's asking, I can send them some stuff. We overtrain having your hands in front of your eyes. Okay, so it's going to be, the kids are going to be so awkward. Okay, because what the worst thing you want to see is you see a long arm kid and they have their hands down. The first thing you're going to do is what? You're going to bring them up. It's like boxing. You don't see any boxers with their boxing with their hands down. Your hands are up. So everything we do on the sled, whether we're just punching like a curl flat on a reroute, we're working on counter punch hands on the sled, everything we do, we train here. Now, does that mean they're going to be here on game day? No. Naturally, can need to do what? They're going to drop them. You overly train like that and you just show it over and over and over, it becomes more natural what kids do. But it is going to be one of those things it's just repetitive behavior. Okay, so here's going back and forth. Punch, counter punch. Now there's your kick step, stab, lock, shoulder. So there's more stuff we get going on some of these one-on-ones here. Go back, hold on. Okay. Now, another drill that we end up doing, and this is just a scout guy going back and forth, as long as I can stay in front of him, okay? And slowing it down for you here. See how he throws this right hand? Look naturally where that counterpunch hand goes. That left hand's naturally going to drop just a little bit. But as long as you can continue to strengthen it up, bam, bam, you got the hand back on you, then you get another hand. As long as you can stay in front of him and he hadn't released outside your frame, it's full court ball. You're making him get up to court to finally get into his route. So just a drill for emphasizing the punch, counterpunch, punch, counterpunch, punch, counterpunch. Okay? So watching it from here. Oop, going back. This kid does a good job staying square. Doesn't cross over, and once again, yeah, he is bumped. Even though he's off the ball here, look at the wide out. Okay? Once again, we put the ball down. So ground as much then the wide out line scrimmage is here. So he's off a little bit harder. Punch, counter punch, staying, come working in his release. Okay? Showing a clip of an NFL guy, which, kids always like, hey, I don't think you know what the hell, so show them the best doing it. All right? So watch the corner down here. Does a great job of using his hands, obviously, in his first few yards, even though his hands are down. He does a great job of staying square, punch, counter punch, counter punch, staying square in front of him, and it's just beating them up. So I think it's whatever techniques you're coaching, I think it's huge to find whether it's high school, some of the best high school teams, NFL, show them of other people doing it. Kids, they hear your voice over and over and over. But then when you show other people or you show the highest level of guys doing those techniques, they believe in it. They start buying into it. And then, it gets their attention. But us down here, one-on-ones. Okay. All right. So now we're head up on this thing right now. And all I want to do is, so our base teaching, if it's third playing man right now, we are going to be head up. Okay. If it's early downs, let's say if it's man free and it's first and second down. Now, a lot of high school coaches probably won't agree with this, but this is how it is for us in college, is we're going to line just outside tip. Okay. Outside tip, because what can happen is I do not want a fade ball thrown on first and down. They're so good in college. They do routes on air, right? Everything's timing. They're throw all the summer and 7-on-7s. They're so good at throwing these balls and catching them, and you can't have a PI. You're eliminating yourself from doing this on first and second. Whether we're playing man free, whether we're playing quarters, I'm gonna be outside on first and second down. Not a whole man, just outside tip, and not give up this fade ball. Okay, which third down we're gonna be head up, because now I have to be able to be tighter on some of those slants. Okay, so as you're watching it here, pretty good job. See how he's going punch with a left hand punch, counter, punch, counter, punch, counter. Now riding, lock him on in here. Does a good job staying that upfield shoulder. So I'm fine. As he's here, he's going to lock out with that left arm. Okay, and you term lock out. I'm good with it. Some people don't agree with it because they think you're pushing them away. I like it. Instead of body on body and giving the elbow, the flipper, they want contact so that now they can use you and push off you. So I just want to naturally lock out on you, right? And the guy does a good job and go to the tight view here. So he ends up being heavy. I might have told him outside tip here if that was. I'm good with it. Punch, counter punch, lock out. So I'm fine. Like we talked about, if they throw a slant, just be ready to go pull that back arm with that right. I don't think he necessarily needs to square up here. The biggest thing here is just go finish. But I like this. The kid's pissed, right? He's competitive. But he's working the technique, always finish on a punch. And I think it's critical, let the kid during these periods, coach them up a little bit. Don't overcoach them. Coach them on, because they're pissed. The guy caught the ball. I think that's big. Have individual meetings with your guys and show them, okay? But once again here, punch. See how he's throwing that right arm? He's punching. I don't care which hand you shoot first. Always have the counter punch hand ready. Punch, counter punch. See how naturally that left hand goes back? But he gets it right back on him. Punch, counter, lock him out, does a good job. And I don't think he needs, once again, stripper pull and come all the way through. Pull that back arm there. Making sure he's on sides. Know where the ball is. It's kind of choppy on my end, so I'm sure it is on counter punch, lock out. Okay, now it's a good clip, kind of the next thing to show here. So you're going to get all different types of releases, right? You're going to get speed releases, the square up, the little shimmy, the quick one-way. It's important to work different releases. The main thing, I don't sit there and have an indie drill and work all different types of releases because we're not motor mirroring. Our big thing is we're just getting hands-on. But naturally, look at this kid. It's hard to see from this view, but look where his hands are. His hands are up above his face. So that's just repeated behavior, repetition, and practice. Okay, but punch. But now this is the big thing, right? What they want to end up doing is they want to end up getting that hand off you. They want to swim that hand and stack you, right? And you see it on all those fields, and they want that line here. That's that fade ball line where they do a good job of throwing it out here and leaning into, and they do it all damn day, right? All you whiteout coaches do all this stuff. So what I'm doing now, this is an example of just I'm punch, counter punch. Now that's my stab and lockout. I don't think it needs to hang on this long. Stab, lock out that shoulder, and then reestablish, which I have a better clip to show you here in a second. But look what it does to this wideout. Look what it does for that quarterback to put this ball in that fade ball. That was from having a 5 or 6 yard cushion to having about 1 yard from the sideline. Okay. The only thing I would coach this kid up on here is if he feels like he's on top, once again, back shoulder fade, comeback, turn into him. Okay. And this was our little pup. This was our freshman's very first. He got no idea what he's doing right now. This is his very first clip of fall camp as a freshman, and he's awful. Look at his feet go forward. He drops his hands. He doesn't shoot him. But I want you to see He's inside too much, but naturally, okay, and going back to a lot of you guys talk about you want to force that release because the quarterbacks aren't as good at throwing and catching that. If that's the case in your league, then that's great to me. You incorporate some of that leverage, okay? And just as we get going to the places I've been in colleges, they get so good at completing that. That's what they want. And guys get in a habit of just drop stepping and open up because they think they can always run with this kid. And eventually they end up being running the same speed or they're not as fast as that guy. And you don't want those free releases. So this kid's technique is awful line scrimmage. He spreads the feet, he drops the hands, everything you don't want. But you see him punch. He locks and then reestablish the stab. Now reestablish. Now this I don't like. A lot of coaches teach it. They teach, the hook and lean. Essentially, if I do that, I'm giving him my back. Okay. You'll see it in a minute. I like to pin the wrist before we look up. Now the kid makes a hell of a play here, right? Makes a hell of a play. But at the same time, it's one of those things you're like, shit, I don't want to have that to happen because he thinks he just had a hell of a rep. It's not the end result. It's the process of coming and working your technique and working your fundamentals down. So, I would say, hey, it's a great play here, but look how shitty you are with your hands and your feet. What are we thinking here? What are you just opening the gate? Why are you not pinning, giving them your back? Those are things you can end up going. Once again, celebrate with your boys. Okay. Now, different release here. Bam. He got shook a little bit. Open. Now, essentially almost like screw man where he's in your blind spot. I flip and match. There's the stab. And what are wideouts going to do? They're going to try to work it, right? So I think it's vital. At times you're not always going to connect, but does a good job of stabbing, maintaining contact. But here's that pin. So here's that pin the wrist before I look up. Instead of giving him my back, hook, leaning, locating, all that, I want to pin that low, right? And I got to end up being in phase to do it, obviously. Pin the wrist low before I look up to make him catch that ball one-handed. That's something that I've always kind of gone to, and it's a little bit different for kids at first. They always want to give them the back and lean into them, but it's been beneficial. Okay, here's an example. It's kid playing bump. Look at his feet. So naturally what I tend to do is I naturally just kind of walk in place. Buzz. The very first thing you want to do is you want to drop your hands and spread your feet, what I don't want. So it gives you something to do. I don't like he didn't shoot a punch. And see how this guy's naturally or just to freeze. Shoot a hand. Shoot a hand. Don't shoot a foot. Shoot a hand. At least let him work into his release. Now, he had bad eyes here a little bit. He missed on the stab. I like to see him go ahead and speed turn here. It's too much slow. He's beat right now. I'm not in position to pin the wrist now. I got to run. Oh, shit. Right? Now I got to run. But does a good job as he's starting to catch up. He starts to see how he's reaching. He's going to go pin and now work to that offhand. Doesn't panic, right? Don't. Basically, thing you can do is just continue to run, go play through the hands. And I'm sure all you DB coaches tired of all this shit, right? And all that. Okay. That's all they want to do.
Coach, real fast, could you just explain the coaching points for pinning the wrist?
Yeah. So going back, I think that one was a good clip of it all. So anytime I'm in phase, and we'll drill it, okay? Anytime I'm running now, before I look back, when do you look back for the ball? Well, we always teach our guys is now I need to go ahead and pin that wrist, grab that wrist low, right? Because he's always trying to push off you. If you give him your back or anything, he's going to push off you and create space. So I always want to just pin that wrist, grab that wrist before I end up looking up. And if I ever pin the wrist and I look up and I lose it, I need to be ready to go pin the wrist again and ready to go play through his hands. You're not getting a pick now. So pin the wrist and do a good job. So you can just jog and do a drill. It's a pre-practice or post-practice drill where you're not in phase. Pin the wrist before you look up. Pin the wrist before you look up. Pin before you look up. Pin, I lose it. Fight, play through the hands. So it allows you, do not give him your back like we saw in that Texas game. If you give him your back, he's going to push off you. You're going to get back shoulder. You're going to be blind. You can feel him with that, and they don't like it. All the hand battling, they always say, all the wideout coaches, don't let them touch you. Don't let them get hands on you. Get hands on them. Okay, so now here's just as we get going in a few minutes here, Justin. Am I good?
Yes, sir. You're good.
Okay, so here's just some clips of us. Okay, and we're playing slot. We're playing our screw technique. But here's just playing man free. So it's a good lesson here. I would like for this slot here playing the scoots, this nickel, to play outside tip here, right? Look at that normal split. So if anything, I wouldn't want that relief if he ends up being a little bit heavier outside. But here's just an example of playing screw corners. Shuffle, inside breaking routes. There's the curl, just be in position to go plant and drive. Plant and drive, plant and drive. But pretty good job by the nickel there in the slot. And anytime you got a guy that can run like this kid can, you know, you feel a little bit better out there. But that's that one route that just it's hard to defend if you are inside leverage, right? The teams that are good at it. And I'm just going to roll through. I got a few cut-ups of us, some NFL, some of the college lessons win. Okay, so now you look down here. When do I press or when do I not? Anytime we feel tight splits, whether we're quarters or we're playing just man-free, I can control from the sideline, but I also want them doing it times two. So if they feel tight, go press it. Go press it. Now, first and second down, I cannot give up a go ball. We always talk about it. 3 to 5 plays, right? A lot of times determines the outcome of a football game. If I'm outside tip and I contest and he catches a slant or a dig and it's 10 yards, that's not going to affect the outcome of the game. But if I open a gate and I'm head up or I'm inside and I give up this ball, that can be one of those 3 to 5 plays. So, you know, if we do press it, I'm outside tip, but if I blitz, I can press it here. That way you're, you know, him playing off and getting all those rubs and beaters and doing all that you get in quarters or man free. And it also allows you to see how he's punch. He does a good job here on all these tunnel screens. So verify it for safety who's playing scooch man behind him or next to him. Once he sees this collision, he can now replace. So eliminate some of the quick games, some tunnel screens and all that. Okay, and then what you can tell from our kids too. See how they're punching and working the ball. You know, everyone does drills. Our D, you know, when we're at Tech and at Houston and all that, the biggest thing with turnovers, man, is just is emphasize what you preach. Guys do there's not a magic drill. The biggest thing is you got to show and chart competitive working the ball. And obviously there comes a science of, you know, some guys, when do you tackle, when do you strip? You know, I think some kids have a knack of doing a little bit of both. Yeah, and pretty good job. Watch both corners here. They're playing off. Okay. Playing their shuffle technique. Don't heel click. And, you know, this corner down here is heel clicking a little bit too much. I have a better base. Crossover run. But now, blind spot, flip and match. Good job. Vertical stem. Look up top. Takes the shuffles. He's patient, right? Right on the field. Take your shuffles, vertical side. Pretty good job playing and driving. Contest the curl. So great job by both corners here playing their off technique. The nickel up top, too fast in his scooch, right? I want to for a quick game. That's why we're doing it. So he's just pedaling up out of there. He's not testing these out routes. Be patient. Okay, the safety down. Look at the stem. Inside stem. Scooches off. Now just go ahead and be ready to go plant and drive on the over route. But good job at both the corners there. You can see it from this view. Hind inside, plant and drive on the curl. He's in my blind spot, flipping a match. Be ready to turn into if you're high. And as I'm getting low on time, Justin, let me show you a couple of reasons. And here's a good example, okay? We're just watching tape. And no disrespect if there's anybody from any universities on here, but as you start watching, you pull off lessons from everybody. And that way your kids don't make, whether it's situational ball or a kid did and all that. And what ends up being here, watch this nickel or safety, whoever this piece is, he ends up getting an S fade. But watch what he ends up doing. Same deal. Look at the time, okay? Cal is up 8, so they're in a good situation with a minute 15 left to go in a football game, right? So they need to score and get the 2-point conversion. So, I'm playing man free. This is not a situation to go press. If I am pressed, I better be outside, right? But I cannot. The worst thing that can happen is this: is you give up a go ball here. So I'm pressed. I'm running. Look at this nickel down here in slot. If you don't pin the wrist, look at that left hand. That wideout's just going to push. They're not going to call the shit either. Okay, it's reality. Very rarely you get called with it. So he's going to push off, create space. Now the ball's at the 10. You wasted about 5 seconds. Now you're in a shitty situation. So to me, it goes back to situation football. If you happen to press, I'm outside tip. Cannot give up this ball. I got to go pin the wrist. So once again, it's just lessons. When should I press? When's a good time? you can control it from a coach on the sideline, but I think your kids should know it as well. Like, why are you pressed here? Why are you playing off? What should you know, they need to understand that. If they can't answer it, you got to find a way to teach it better. But once again, he gives him his back. He's looking. He's going to push off, create space. There you go. And they can say, yeah, it's a great catch and all that. No, that's a situation that can't happen.
Coach, got a couple questions here.
Yep.
Press out, tight split and zone. Are y'all playing press bail?
So one thing we've done, and we will press bail a lot of times. Like, look at this picture here. We will press bail a lot if we're running a form of cover 3, especially in a boundary. You know, anytime we're playing our true zone and we need to overlap and stop our vertical threat, you know, how do you stop 4 verts and cover 3 and all that? We'll get out early if we do, you know, but, you know, it always depends. Are you carrying 2 or are you rerouting them? What are you doing? So we will work some press bail and play off and play man, you know, and end up having still man eyes there. At times we'll also do it in player zone coverage or even go quarters and read 2 with it. I think it determines of how much bump are you doing or how much bail are you doing, and you need to incorporate a little bit of both. I think it's something that kind of you progress with your kids. But I'm also a firm believer in this. You don't want too much where the kids don't get good at something. The reason they get good at something is because they're doing the same thing over and over and over. And then once they get it, okay, well, now let's them a little bit, you know, but there's obviously strengths and weaknesses to everything. What else?
It was asked if you could just review the difference between the soft press and catch footwork with the nickel.
Yeah, so just with our nickel, we end up scooching. Okay, so I'm going to lose ground, not in this situation here. They're playing more bump, but we'll end up scooching. It's just a step replace, and I want to end up – we start tools to be at 7, not wide out. And, you know, where's your help? And this is the show about help. But if I know I have a here and I have any normal split, I like to be outside tip to eliminate that out. You know, it's a hard one to get. You know, if he happens to be wide, then you can tuck in. But know where your help is. And then we scooch. I want to take essentially about 3 scooch steps to end up being even in collision. That's when after I take my 3 scooch steps, now it turns into more of a soft press that the end back and catch and collision 10 to 12 yards. It'd be more body on with that leverage. So here's a great lesson here. And I'm watching a lot of the Patriots third down. So what they're running is they're running the one robber, right, where he ends up being your robber low hole piece. He's your post player here, right? So they do a great job, the Patriots here. They do a great job with leverage. This corner play is playing outside tip, knowing he has help here. This slot, this nickel is playing out, knowing he has help here by the robber and the post piece. A good lesson here. He opens a gate and he's not playing outside tip, or he does a bad job with his fundamentals and opens the gate and allows him to get a free release, or guess where the ball goes. Okay, so as you watch the corner up top. Great job. Outside tip, but there's your help inside. Look at the nickel. Outside tip, there's your robber. Know where your help is. Understand, what are you trying to take away? Look at the corner down here, though. Opens the gate. He's trying to stab. There's a wideout. Does a good job getting this to him. Now he's even, but here's that route, right? But now he doesn't pin the wrist. He gives him his back. What's the wideout going to do? He's going to push off, even though he's in great shape here right now, push off and create space, and there it is. Now he can't get there. So it's a great lesson to show our kids, understand where your help is, what leverage are you playing, wise, open the gate, the finish of not pinning the wrist, and the end result of what ends up happening here. I got about 2 more clips, Justin, and then I'll just open up for questions, and then I'll be done.
Yes, sir. So
what I have here in our kids are this kid's a hell of a football player here, right? Number 24, that freshman at LSU, hell of a player. And so I like to cut up and show our guys, you know, and obviously LSU won national championship, great job. But prime example, okay, and this is no disrespect to anybody on these staff. They know a lot more football than I do, and, you know, there's a reason they're at LSU and I'm at Texas State. But look at the situation here. It's 46-4, right? So LSU's up 12 with 1:31 to go in the football game, fourth quarter, right? So my situation with our kids, hey, I'm playing off. I'm playing screw. Make them earn drives. If I do bump, I side tip. But what I can't do in this situation is just give them a free release, open the gate. And this kid can run. He is talented. But this ball can't happen. All of a sudden, once again, he's not in position necessarily to go pin the wrist, and he ends up falling down, and all of a sudden that ball can't happen in the situation of the football game. And everyone has those questions of, well, why is he playing off? Why isn't he playing off? Or why isn't he playing man? Parents have to respond to that. To me, those conversations need to happen pregame or, throughout the week. Let's look at this corner up top. He feels tight splits, he goes and press it, you better be outside tip, which he's a pretty good job. But that's a lesson, okay, which is a good example to show on this next one. And the thing I've really been studying a lot of leverages. Well, now look at 24 down here at the bottom, okay, Clemson in the championship game here. Look what leverage he's working. He's working the outside tip, right? He's working the outside tip. But the one thing we've done with our kids, outside tip, I'm going to shoot my outside hand first. And it's a good lesson here as I'm watching this because they do a good job and they're more of a soft press to outside tip here, right? Shoot the inside hand and I'm outside leverage. He's just going to break it. He's going to stack me now. There's no difference inside leverage and shooting your outside hand. If the wideout beats you, gets you clean release, he's going to stack you, and that's what he wants. So naturally, we're just outside tip. I'm going to shoot the outside hand, but have my inside counterpunch hand ready to go. That's one thing that I've started studying a bunch of, is just leverage from playing bump and what can eliminate explosive plays. Well, that's what I got there, Justin. Any questions on? I mean, I think obviously anytime you're playing man, it's body on body. Obviously great players make you a great coach, but I think as you look at leverage and all that and when to play it and when to use it, it can eliminate a lot of explosive plays or critical situations as you get going.
Absolutely. No, if anybody has any questions, guys, just drop it in the chat here. While they're doing that, Coach, you want to just throw up your contact information again?
Yeah, let me get that up here. Once again, that's my Twitter, man. Just anybody has anything, or I know film at times is hard right now. We're not in the office, but I'll be able to shoot you whatever, any type of individual or anything you guys need or any other questions you guys have on. I get more in depth, or if it was lacking, just let me know. Everyone's trying to get better, and not saying that my stuff's right, wrong, or indifferent, but if you can get one thing out of it, then you got better as a coach. That's the main thing.
Absolutely. And honestly, Coach, for the most part, I think maybe a couple times the film was lagging a little bit, but for the most part, it was good. Yeah, so
perfect.
Solid presentation, and obviously appreciate you coming on, man. And like I told you before, definitely, you've been supportive of a lot of these speakers that have come up here. So it's cool to get you up here and give your own presentation, and you rocked it, man, for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Justin. Like I said, doing a good thing, man. And I owe you a drink next time.
I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up on that for sure.
That's what you need to do.
Coach, do you mind sharing your email? Is asked if they'd be able to get you.
Yeah, just take it. It's Brett Dewhurst at txstate.edu. So my name, Brett Dewhurst at txstate.edu. Just shoot me up, and I'll get back to you when I can. Like I said, I got a 2-year-old, so at nighttime is my best time, man.
There you go. Well, appreciate all the coaches for checking in. Just like the rest, we'll get this one up on the drive soon. If y'all want to watch it back, I think a lot of times, right, it's always great to watch these sessions back, man, and just gather some more information if you maybe missed a coaching point or whatever. But and I've been saying it, something I've been really preaching on lately. But these coaches obviously are out here. Presenting and they're giving the contact information, guys. So use it. It ain't just filling up a slide. You know what I mean? It's there for a reason. It's there for you guys to reach out and utilize. And that's part of this whole deal, man. That's one of the coolest things about everything that's been going on is coaches have been making new connections left and right. And they're valuable. They're valuable at high school coach, middle school coach, college coach, whatever. They're all valuable. So keep using that, man. Keep improving. Keep pushing the community forward. Everybody's doing it. So appreciate that, guys.